In order to write variable expressions, we need to be aware of certain keywords that signal mathematical operations. The four main mathematical operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the words that you see in these boxes are words that signal to us what operation is being asked. Now, this is a great time to pause this video so you have a moment to copy down and fill in this chart onto your notes. Once you resume, we'll pick up right here. An example of what you might ask to do is to write a variable expression for this word expression or this verbal expression. So for the expression 3 more than a number, if I'm going to write this with variables, I'm being asked to translate this using these keywords and a variable. So 3 more than a number. Well, since they didn't tell me what number, I'm going to use a variable. And usually we'll use the letter n for number or the letter x. Those are the two most common variables. But you could use any letter that you would like to use for your variable. And I can see 3 more than, so that's going to be the number 3. And then I'm going to look for the word more than, although you probably already know that this is signaling addition. So I can go ahead over here and write that the variable expression for this would be 3 plus n. Here's another example, the product of 12 and a number. So I see I have a 12 and a number. Again, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to use the variable n, and I'm going to look for the word product. And here it is. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So I know that I'm going to be multiplying. Now this is going to be something really important for you to write down and make special note of. In this class and in an algebra class, the only correct way to write this is 12n. Okay, I'm going to write down some other things that are not correct so that you can write them down as well and then cross them out. 12 times n is not correct. 12 with the x symbol times n, I mean, you can tell by looking at that how weird that is. Is that an x? Is that a variable? Is that the multiplication sign? I'm just not sure. So you're going to cross those out as a reminder that the only correct way to write this is 12n with the variable right next to the coefficient. And this last example down here, I've got a number again and 3. And it says quotient, so I'm going to look for the word quotient, which I see right here. Quotient means division, so this is a division problem. And this is another one that I'd like you to please make sure you write down just like this. This is the only correct way to show this in an algebra class, n divided by 3, or n over 3. We won't actually use the way that I have it written here. Now, I've got 3 examples here, and you'll notice that I have left off this subtraction example, and it's because there's something interesting that's going to happen with the words less than. So make a special note, please, on your paper that says less than. And I'm going to do the same steps I just did. I can see that I have a 5 and 5 less than a number, so I have the letter n, and I know that less than means subtraction. So when I look at this, I think that this is how I should write this, just like this, 5 minus x. Now, I'm going to write something else instead. I'm going to write this with an actual number. If I asked you, what is 5 less than 20? What is 5 less than 20? I think most of you would know that 5 less than 20 is 15. So I'm going to take that number 20, okay? Let's pretend it wasn't a number. Let's say that it was this example I just gave. So let me put a 20 here and a 20 here, and I want us to see which one of these actually works. This says 5 take away 20, which is actually negative 15. This says 20 take away 5, which is 15. This is the correct way to write this. Now, I want to go back and show really quickly again how that works. This says 5 less than a number. So it's read backwards. It's a little bit confusing. It's the only one that's like that, which is why I've put this on a separate page, is that when you see the words less than, and this is only happening with the words less than, that we have to remember that we kind of do this backwards thing. So it looks like this: 5 less than a number. And it's not with all of the subtraction keywords. If I go back and look at these other subtraction keywords, minus, difference, decreased by, if I had written 5 minus x, then I would write as my answer 5 minus x. That's correct. If the question was 5 is decreased by x, I would write 5 is decreased by x, and it would look like that. It's really just with this special word or the special phrase less than that we need to be careful. So once we know how to write these expressions, you would be asked to evaluate expressions. This expression here is 15 times a number. This is a number plus another number, and so on. And in this case, they've given me the values of m equals 3 and n equals 5. Remember that when we're being asked to evaluate, we're being asked to find the numerical answer. So I want to know what the answer, the actual number, what is the number answer to each one of these problems? And to keep our math neat, whenever you're being asked to evaluate, I ask you to use a bubble. So when you see a variable, you replace it with a bubble. And a bubble is just an empty set of parentheses. And so for all of these variables, instead of writing m plus n, bubble plus bubble, instead of writing 50 minus m, 50 minus bubble, and so on. Because now I have space to go back and fill in. Every time I see the letter m, I'm going to place the number 3. And every place that I see the letter n, I'm going to see the number 5. And this is a perfect example of why we use these bubbles or these empty parentheses. Another math student might accidentally do this, do their 15 and then say, okay, m is 3 and it's supposed to go right here. They might try and say that the answer to this problem is 153. And it's definitely not 153. When I have my parentheses here, it's easy for me to see that I'm supposed to multiply these two numbers together. So 15 times 3, the answer is 45. 3 plus 5, the answer is 8. 50 take away 3, the answer is 47. And 40 divided by 5, the answer is 8. Here is a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style game regarding writing expressions. tinyurl.com/carnes algx for algebraic expressions.